Hey guys, so I wanted to just do a really quick little tutorial on the acrylic stamps. I learned how to do them a long time ago when I was doing some old school scrapbooking, and I think sometimes I forget that because I know how to do something, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody does. So it seems really easy to me, but I forget that other people don't always know how to do things if they haven't tried it before. So, and 3 times in the last week, I've heard people asking about how to use these. And I know I was never a part of, I think it's called Stamp Up, but I have a couple friends who were, and I guess with those, you had to put the stamps down on acrylic blocks, and it was permanent. So people had asked questions about these and if that's what they had to do. So I just wanted to do a quick little tutorial, show you guys how to use these if you don't know how. These are the Studio G stamps from Michael's. They're like $1 or $1.50. I can't remember which one. They're super cheap and they actually work really well. So those are these are each individual little stamps, and then I actually got these acrylic blocks back again from when I was doing scrapbooking. They have these at Michael's and other places, and then you can see the lines on here so that if you do need to stamp something straight, you can use those lines to line it up. And then I have 2 different sizes. I think most of the blocks that I've seen lately at Michael's and anywhere else, they're just, I think they have 3. They all have 3 in there. So they just put, the little stamps are in between 2 pieces of plastic, and you just peel off the one that you want. And then you'll put the flat side down. There's a couple different ways. You can put it down that way, or if you want, especially if you're putting a couple stamps together, you can put them down exactly the way you're going to put them on the page. So like, say I wanted to use these 2 stamps together and I wanted them to be on the page like this, you could put them down on a piece of paper first and then put them on the acrylic block down to pick them up. So I would need the bigger block if I'm going to use both of those, but this one's kind of dirty, sorry guys. So you can just kind of set this down, and then it picks the stamps up so they're stuck there, and then that way they're laid in place exactly the way you want them. I usually only do that if I'm trying to line something up. If I'm only using 1 stamp at a time, then I'll usually just go ahead and place it down myself. And then I'm using, my favorite ink is the Ranger Archival ink. It seems to cover it seems to cover the stamps better. I don't know if you'll be able to see in the video, but it's kind of got little, I don't even know what to call it. It's soft, a little bit softer, I think, so I feel like you can pick up more. So there's a couple ways people do this too. I've seen people stamp it on this way. Some people leave the pad down and push the ink on this way. I kind of usually do this first, and then I turn it over, and if it looks like everything is inked, then I'll go back over and do it this way. Or if I'm using my little dewdrop inks, let me show you those. If I'm using one of these little dewdrop inks, then a lot of times I will just turn this over and kind of pat it on the stamp. So you just want to make sure it's good and covered. And one thing I like about this is when you're using the wooden stamps, I always get ink around the edge, and then I end up putting it down on the paper and it gets on the page. With these acrylic ones, they're raised enough that you don't have that issue. So, and then sometimes I put something underneath just to kind of give it a little bit of cushion. But then you just press it down. I like to hold it for a couple of seconds and then lift it up, and you have your stamp. So, and then to clean it off, I'll actually do one more just to show you guys. So what you're gonna do, there's a couple ways you can clean this off. You can use baby wipes. That's one of my favorite ways. It's quick and easy. The only downside is some of them leave little hairs, I guess you would call it. From the wipe, you can see like how the pieces of the wipe come off. So if I use the wipey to wipe it off, once I'm done, I kind of let it dry and then I just blow on it to blow off the extra pieces. And then once it's dry, then you just put it right back in the pouch where it came from, and you keep them in there to store them. So I'll do one more really quickly. Sometimes I have a hard time getting good coverage on these. I'm definitely not a stamping pro, so don't even think that. I'm just started stamping recently, so I've learned a few things with some different inks. So see, I missed a little bit of a spot there and a little bit in the tail. I don't know, you can see it's still on this stamp, but so yeah. And I really like these. My favorite thing is that they don't leave the spots. So like this is one of the wood block stamps. This is just a cute little one I got from the Target dollar spot. So with these, I'm terrible. I try to be careful, but I always get some on the block. Always. It never fails. And then when I stamp it down, again, I try to be really careful, but they're not raised enough. Oh, I actually did it that time. Well, of course I'm filming a YouTube video, so it's gonna come out perfect. But usually when I stamp these, I get the excess that's around the edge. So I got a little bit on that one. So, but anyway, it's up to you. It's what your preference is. These acrylic or these wooden block ones, there's nothing wrong with them. I really like the acrylic ones. The one benefit to these, I feel like sometimes they're easier to clean because you don't have to worry about the stamp sliding around. Sometimes with these, the stamp kind of, I don't know, it moves around on me sometimes, especially if I'm using the other cleaning method. The other way you can clean them is with a spray. They have different kinds of stamp sprays. This is just a Stazon brand. And then you can use like a little cleaning pad. And then you can either spray it directly on the pad or you can spray it on the stamp. I like spraying it on the pad better. I feel like when I spray it on the stamp, it gets way too much on there and it takes a lot to get it off. So I'll like spray it in one area and then I'll kind of rub it in that area and it takes the ink off, and then I'll rub it over here where it's clean and there's no spray to kind of get the excess of the spray off. So the two different methods, the spray and the pad, it gets the ink off really well, like almost perfectly. So if that's something that bothers you, that might be the way to go. But I do feel like sometimes the spray, it's kind of greasy and maybe it leaves a little bit of residue, and I don't like that. So I do use the baby wipes a little bit more, I think. So it's kind of just what your preference is. There's other ways you can clean them as well, but so I just wanted to do that little tutorial, kind of show you how these stamps work, and then you just put it back in the package and that's how you store them. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye guys.